What's going on, guys? County Gains back here again with some more controversial Jordan Peterson opinions. So this is Jordan Peterson Confronts Australian Politician on Gender Politics and Quotas Q&A. So this has got 14 million views, and he's arguing with a prominent Australian Labor Party politician, Terry Butler, over quotas in Parliament and Q&A Monday night panel. So what he's basically arguing here is there shouldn't be, gender quotas, like male to female ratios in workplaces. The best person gets the job. I agree, guys. The best person for the job gets the job, right? It should be like that. There shouldn't be any kind of, quotas or anything like that. That just sounds a bit kind of stupid, right? The best person for the job gets the job. We're gonna see what happens. Let's get it.
Would not be judged by the colour of their skin.
Let's go back.
Martin Luther King's dream was that there would come a time when people would not be judged by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Love it.
How is today's identity politics consistent with that vision?
Jordan Peterson.
Well, I don't think it's consistent with that vision at all. I mean, the problem I have with identity politics as a mode of philosophical apprehension is that it's predicated on the idea that the appropriate way to classify people is by their group identity in whatever fragmentary formulation that might take,
right,
and the multiplicity of ways that people can be divided into groups. And the classical postmodern, and I would also say Marxist way of viewing the world, even though those two things shouldn't be allowed together, they tend
he doesn't like Marxism for sure, guys.
to be, is that group identity takes priority over individual identity, and I think that's precisely the opposite of what Martin Luther King was hoping for and working for. And I think it's unbelievably dangerous, partly because when you assume that people should primarily be identified by their group, then you can also attribute group guilt to them by their group. And then things go downhill very, very rapidly. And we've had no shortage of evidence of that sort of thing happening, say, throughout the 20th century.
Are there particular groups that you are more concerned about than others? For example, the Liberal Party, as Terry Butler said earlier, is a group. Are there groups that you think are more dangerous?
There isn't a problem with groups. The problem is with assuming that the fundamental way that you should categorize people is with their group identity. Obviously, we all belong to groups. The issue is whether or not the individual identity is primary and the group identity is secondary, or the group identity is primary and the individual identity is secondary. If you're a proponent, for example, of equality of outcome, of quotas, then you de facto accept the proposition that it's the group identity that is primary, and there's all sorts of dangers that are associated with that far outweigh whatever good you're likely to do.
Okay, well, maybe you just...
Go ahead.
A lot of people agree with that one.
Or maybe you just think that representative democracy should be representative. Maybe you just think that women should be equally represented in the decision-making fora of our nation. Maybe that's really just about having proper equality in a body that's meant to be representative.
Well, I do believe that women should have... I don't understand your question, I guess.
I guess you don't. That's pretty obvious, unfortunately.
Well, how about if you phrase it more clearly, instead of just insulting me?
Yeah, that's funny. He's right on that one, guys. So he's basically saying that, women shouldn't be just included in the workplace if they suck at their job. Like, same way if a guy can't perform his job, guys, it shouldn't matter if he's a guy, woman, whatever ethnic background. It shouldn't matter about the actual that. It should matter about, whether or not they're good for the job, or whether or not, they should be represented, fairly, right? Depends on how, how well they do.
Look at it this way. Let's talk about quotas for...
Am I right about that? Chat, tell me down below.
Look at it this way. Let's talk about quotas for a minute. So there's a very wide array of jobs that are fundamentally done by men. So, for example,
Member of Parliament,
99.9% of bricklayers...
Stop sledging you now, I promise.
I'm happy to give my minute to Jordan.
99.9% of bricklayers are men. Should we have quotas for women?
Is bricklaying representative democracy?
That has nothing to do with the question. The question is if there's evidence of structural inequality and oppression because women aren't precisely represented at 50% in all professions at all levels, then why don't we have a conversation about having women represented in all professions at all levels? Why do we talk about the C-suite, for example? Why do we talk about politics and positions of power? Why don't we talk about it across the board?
Okay,
We're
so
talking about
let's just
politics,
pause
and
and...
Yeah, but that's because
We're
it's
talking about
power.
You pose a question to Terry Butler. Go ahead and answer it. Then we'll hear from the other panellists.
His question to me.
Well, yeah, if you'd,
About
like,
bricklayers.
if you'd like to answer the question about bricklayers.
There's nothing wrong with
Why there are no
bricklayers.
Of course
quotas in
there's not.
Yeah, so I think she's kind of missing the point here. A lot of these people shoot themselves in the foot when they're kind of talking to Jordan Peterson because they can't give like a coherent response. I don't know if that's done on purpose or whatever, but yeah, like, you know, obviously there's some jobs that are like terrible that like dudes do, you know, those guys that climb up those towers and fix all the, you know, the lights and stuff like that. Most ESB workers, like building in Ireland, would be like 99% guys. And these jobs are kind of outdoor jobs that kind of suck most of the time, but there's no kind of like equality for outcome for those jobs, right? You know, people aren't pushing for equality in those jobs. You know, women and stuff would be pushing for equality in jobs that, you know, would be more in positions of power. And there's a reason for that. I'm not even blaming that much, to be honest, but it's like, shouldn't it be consistent throughout all the shit jobs, you know, the shit jobs and the good jobs kind of thing? So yeah, you have to be kind of careful about where you say on that one. What do you guys think in the comments down below? Should there be, you know, should there be consistency overall with every job? Like, you know, should there be, you know, women, you know, cleaning the gutters and shit, you know, just, you know, jobs that just suck, like, you know, dustbin men. Should women do those jobs as well? Should there be, you know, quotas for women as well doing those jobs? You know, I'm pretty sure that nobody would be agreeing with that. You know, it'd be mostly for the high, you know, let's say clean jobs, you know, or let's say post-Fordist professional, you know, modern jobs. So yeah, pretty interesting, guys. Obviously pretty basic. There is a ton of these, so I will be reacting to all of them. I love you guys all. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.